Hey guys, it's Simply Imaginary People, and I was asked to make a tutorial on how to convert hairs for different ages. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open TSR Workshop, and you're going to import the hair that you want to convert. Wait for it to load. Okay, when it has, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Texture, Mesh, and you're going to go to Very High Level of Detail, and you're going to press Export. And you're going to export it as a dot object. Right, then you can close that, and you can open Blender. Now you're going to import that object. There we go. Got the hair. Now what you're going to do is you're going to import the face and scalp of the age you want. So I'm just going to do it for toddlers. Right, so now you can see here I've got the hair and the scalp. Now what I'm going to do is on my numpad I'm going to press 5 and then I'm going to press 1 because that at least makes me see it straight. So now I'm going to right click this hair, make sure that you can see it has two groups. So I need to right click both the groups, and then I need to make sure I actually have both groups selected, and I'm just going to move them down. There we go, zoom in. Obviously it's too big. Now I'm just going to press S on my keyboard and I'm going to scale them. It's kind of annoying that they're in two groups, so the easiest thing is to select both and just say join. This makes them one group, means I can go into edit mode, and this makes it a lot easier to scale. Obviously you're going to have to look at it from all angles and try and get it to fit on the head as best as possible. Usually toddlers have a pretty fat head for some reason, so sometimes you've got to scale in different directions. So scale X will make it go sideways a bit, and scale Y will make it go forwards and backwards a bit. Just scale it down on the sides again, just a bit longer so that it's not like in the toddler's face. And you just got to make sure here I can see there's still bits of scalp poking through. It's sometimes pretty hard to see, so what's easiest to do is to go click on the toddler face, go to edit mode, and just open a face for the toddler. Go to texture. And that way I can see where the scalp is poking through and kind of what the hair looks like. If I want to see the hair even better, then you can go to textures here, hair textures, and export the diffuse map. And then I can do the same thing, press A to highlight all, image, open image. Right. And I can see what the hair looks like on my toddler. Ignore the creepy ass eyes on this skin. Right, I can see that it still needs to go a bit forward and a bit sideways. I'm going to scale Y again. See how forward and scale it X. Direction. Big head of hair here. Sometimes takes just a bit of fiddling. You'll see a bit peeking through there and there. Make sure I don't see any big bits of white or pink scalp showing through. Righty-ho. That looks pretty good. That would be what your hair would then look like. So once you've managed to shape it so that it fits the head, you're going to go and you're going to click this group. Now I separated it into two. I'm not sure. This has two groups, so I need to re-separate it again because I joined it up. And for that, I'm just going to press A to unselect everything, and then L to select what was the bandana. Like that, I can see that this area is the bandana. Is it? Okay, good. And then I'm just going to press P, parent by selection, and then I've got two groups again. Here you go, 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both those groups, and I'm going to go to File, Export Wavefront Object, here 2, and I'm going to click Selection Only so I don't export the face, and I'm going to say Object as Object Groups, so export the groups, and I'm going to export. Right, now I can open Milkshake. While I do that, I'm just going to run another version of Workshop. Hope one of the two loads, yes. Okay, File, Import Wavefront Object, and pick my hair. Should be in two groups, which it is. Good. Don't remember which one's group 1 and which one's group 2. Okay. Group 0 is the bandana, group 1 is the hair. I can see by which goes red. Good, it's the right way around. So I'm going to call this one group 0, and I'm going to call this one group 1. Okay. Right. Now I need to load a hair that I can use as a reference for bones. And you need to pick a hair that has the same length or is longer, and is a toddler hair, obviously. So I've already found one. Be good if it kind of had the same shape, so it's not just on one side if you're doing a two-sided hair. Just picked some long hair. Right, now I'm going to go to export the high level of detail. This time is .wuzo, and call this my ref. Right, and you can see this one only has one group, and this one has two groups, which is going to be a problem. So I'm going to have to export this as a wavefront object again, override what I had. Because if I try to assign bones to a two group item, then it's not going to work. I'll show you. Mesh toolkit. See, if I do this, it's just going to complain and crash itself because it can't do that. So annoyingly, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to delete one group and export this as TSRW and call this 1, edit, undo, move the other one, I don't need to morph it as it's a toddler hair, and toddler hairs don't have morphs. All other groups you'd have to also just morph it as well. So group 1 with my reference. And now group 2 with my reference. Well, group 2 doesn't have the right name because you need to call it group 0. It needs to have the same name as the reference group. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the mesh back together. So we're going to import group 1, and we're going to import group 2. And group 2 we're going to rename to group 1 like it needs to be. And when I click on joint, you'll see it now has colors. Right, perfect. The one thing you can see is that it has a little bit of blue at the bottom. Okay. Right. Now we're going to export this as TSRW, and I'm going to call it hair. Now we're going to go into our adult file, and we're going to go to project, and we're going to untick teen, press no, young adult, press no, and click toddler, and then say yes. And it should reload us with a toddler. Now I'm just going to go into mesh, very high level of detail, and we're going to import our hair. You'll see it beside the kid's head. That's normal. For some reason it does this. Right, obviously we're going to have to test it in game afterwards. Now you'll see that they have high level, medium level, and low level of detail. This is slightly annoying because it means that you're going to need to make LODs, and a two-group object to make LODs is kind of frustrating. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check if all those groups have two groups. This one only has, has two groups. Medium level of detail only has one group, and low level of detail only has one group. So for high level of detail, all we're going to do, import both of them like we had, and then we're just going to go to DirectX Mesh tool. Wait for it to load, which usually takes a while because it's quite a high poly item. And you can see we're 25, I'm just going to pull it down around about half, maybe a little less, and then mesh 5, smooth all. And then you have to do the same thing. So we're going to have to export to group 1 again, edit, undo, remove group, delete the other one, call this group 0, export to group 2, and again open Mesh Toolkit, select group 1, select our reference again, and assign bones. Why is it not working this time? It doesn't seem to like me. Not quite sure why it's complaining when it wasn't a second ago. So select group 1 and select the ref group again. Do assignments and save. Save as group 1 and do the same for group 2. I would advise only doing these LOD groups once you've actually checked the hair in game, but being this can take me ages to load my game up and show you, we're just going to do it all. Again, then import two groups in, rename the second group 1. Make sure you keep the headband group as the top group as it is in the project already, and then you can export this. I just call it hair LOD. Right. If you remember, the medium level only has group 0. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select both groups and regroup them into one. We'll call this group 0. And then we're going to do the next same thing. We're going to go to DirectX Mesh Tools. Wait for it to load. Go on about halfway. Go to Face Smooth All. Export to TSRW object and say hair LOD 2. And then do the DirectX Mesh Tools again because I don't have to separate it into groups. Go about halfway. Face Smooth All. File export to TSRW object LOD 3. Go back to our project. high level of detail, import the still 2 group LOD. Yes. Medium level of detail, import LOD 2. Remember, if you're not doing it for toddlers but for kids or anything older, you need to also morph it. Low level of detail, import LOD 3. That means literally when you're assigning bones to group 1 and group 2, then you just quickly assign morphs to group 1 and group 2 with the same hair reference. Like one little step more. Right, once you've done this, go back to high level of detail. Everything else should generally stay the same, except you're going to name it. So you can go sim. Conversion. And then you can export it. Right, now this hair was quite easy because it's a short hair. Now what I'm going to show you is the problem you get when you get a long hair. So I'm going to open a different hair. Find what I want. Right, this hair is long hair, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to export as .object the high level of detail. I'm going to call it hair. And I'm going to go into this file again, delete the 2 hair groups and make my face visible again. Right, a long hair obviously is going to go over the shoulders, so what I also need to do is I need to import the toddler body, because otherwise I can't see. Not my legs. There we go. Now I can do the same thing. I can move it down and scale it. Okay. Now you can see that it's clipping through her shoulder here. This is the problem with long hairs, is that the shoulder of the toddler obviously doesn't fit. So there's 2 ways we can fix this. One of them is to press O in Blender, and this turns on proportional editing. And then I'm literally going to select the area around here that is clipping, and I'm going to press G. And then I'm going to use my scroll. You need to scroll. And if you scroll upwards, you'll see the circle that gets smaller and larger. I'm going to make it pretty big so it kind of covers the hair, and you can see that depending on how big it is, depends how much of the hair moves along with me. So I'm going to make it relatively big, and then I'm just going to pull upward, kind of trying to get her hair out of her shoulder. Do the same thing for the bit of hair that over here that's obviously going through her shoulder. Press G and just pull it up. So you've still got to pull it up quite a bit. G. Right, sometimes it's not that easy to see how much it's clipping. So again, I'm just going to click on the body and quickly import the body. Or anything, doesn't really matter. That'll do. At least then I can see where it's still clipping, and that's pretty good. Obviously you can see such a long hair, it looks slightly ridiculous on a toddler. So with the plait it's a bit difficult. If you have really long hair, then obviously you can alpha edit it to make it shorter, or if you're a bit more skilled in Blender, you can maybe delete a middle section and try and join the bottom of the hair to the top to make it like a short ponytail that hangs over their shoulder. This is quite thick hair, which looks kind of weird on toddlers. But yeah, if you want it like this, then all you've got to do is just do the same steps again. Be careful that when you use a hair reference mesh, you use one that is this long, because otherwise it's not going to work. Otherwise it won't assign the bones properly to the bottom area. Might be hard to find because I don't think there's that many super duper long toddler hairs. But yeah, so the only thing you need to know with longer hair is just make sure that it doesn't clip with the body. Okay, that was pretty much it. I hope that helps.